Captain Vrel of the Galactic Confederation watched the training arena with mounting horror. The human cadet, Tom Walker, moved with a fluid grace that seemed impossible for a creature from a high-gravity, Deathworld. What had begun as a simple cultural exchange program was quickly becoming a diplomatic nightmare. How long has he been at it? Vrel asked his second-in-command. Lieutenant Crix checked his datapad. 5 hours, sir, without rest. 5 hours of continuous combat training against the Confederation's elite warriors. 5 hours of a supposedly fragile human demonstrating techniques that have the military commanders of 7 species frantically taking notes and sending encrypted messages back to their homeworlds. This was supposed to be a simple exchange, muttered Vrel. 1 week of sharing martial traditions. Not this. The human had arrived aboard the station 7 days ago, a single representative from Earth in the inaugural Warrior Culture Exchange program. The Confederation had expected to dazzle the newcomer with their advanced combat forms, perhaps allow the human to demonstrate a few primitive Earth techniques out of politeness. Nobody had expected Tom to absorb everything he was shown, improve upon it, and then combine it with the terrifying combat pragmatism that apparently came standard with humans. He's incorporating Thraxi blade techniques with Norva grappling methods, observed Crix. That combination was theoretically impossible due to the opposing muscle brutes required. Vrel's antennae twitched nervously, and yet there he is doing it. On the training floor, Tom executed a perfect counter that sent a Dravari warrior twice his size tumbling to the ground. The human immediately helped his opponent up, showing all his teeth in what Vrel had learned was a friendly gesture rather than a threat display. The worst part, said Vrel, is how genuinely nice he is about it all. Tom was having the time of his life. When he'd been selected as Earth's representative for this exchange program, he'd been told to observe, learn, and share some basic human martial arts as a courtesy. What nobody had told him was how fascinating alien combat forms would be. The Thraxi focused on pinpoint precision, using their forearms to create geometric patterns of attack. The Norva were all about using an opponent's momentum against them. The Dravari emphasized overwhelming force, while the Pellin specialized in defensive postures. Each style had evolved based on the species' unique physiology and home planet conditions, and each had glaring weaknesses that Tom could immediately spot due to his generalist human perspective. He finished his sparring session with a respectful bow to his latest partner, a Pellin whose exoskeleton gleamed under the training room lights. "Thank you for the match," Tom said. "Your defensive shell technique is remarkable. On Earth, we have a saying, the best defense is a good defense." The Pellin clicked its mandibles nervously. "You adapted to penetrate our sacred guard position in less than 10 minutes of observation." Tom shrugged. "Just saw a pattern and followed it through. Nothing special." What Tom didn't realize was that the sacred guard position had been considered impenetrable for over 300 galactic standard years. Admiral Zoll called an emergency meeting of the Confederation Security Council. As the highest-ranking military official present on the station, it fell to him to address the situation. "Esteemed colleagues," the Admiral began, his gill flaps pulsing with stress, "we have a situation that requires immediate attention. The human exchange cadet has demonstrated capabilities that far exceed our intelligence reports on their species. The representatives from 7 major spacefaring civilizations shifted uncomfortably. In just 1 week," continued Zoll, "this single human has mastered combat techniques that take our warriors decades to perfect. Identified weaknesses in our fighting styles that we were unaware of. Combined incompatible martial forms in ways our physiologists deemed impossible. Demonstrated endurance that suggests humans can fight continuously far longer than our initial assessments indicated." The Thraxi representative raised a limb. "Perhaps this human is exceptional among their kind." Admiral Zoll shook his head. "Our liaison officer reports that Cadet Walker is considered merely above average in human terms, not their elite." A cold silence fell over the room. "There's more," said Zoll. "The human has been teaching our warriors what he calls basic self-defense from Earth. My security team reports that these techniques are brutally efficient and specifically designed to work regardless of size or strength differentials. The implications are clear, rumbled the Dravari general. If humans ever decide to wage war, nobody needed to finish that thought. Tom packed his duffel bag, ready to return to Earth. The week had flown by, and he couldn't wait to tell his instructors back home about all the amazing techniques he'd learned. There was a chime at his door. "Come in," he called. Captain Vrel entered, accompanied by Admiral Zoll and representatives from each participating species. Tom straightened to attention. "At ease, Cadet," said Admiral Zoll. "We've come to express our gratitude for your participation in this exchange." Tom smiled. "The pleasure was all mine, sir. I've learned so much." "Yes," said Vrel, mandibles twitching. "We've noticed. We've also prepared a gift for you." The Admiral presented Tom with an ornate box. Inside was a ceremonial dagger with symbols from each participating species etched into the blade. "This marks you as a friend to all our peoples," explained Zoll carefully, "and as someone we would prefer to never face in combat." Tom laughed, taking it as a compliment rather than the desperate peace offering it truly was. "Thank you, sir. I hope this exchange program continues. Maybe next time we can send a real expert from Earth instead of just a cadet like me." The aliens exchanged glances of barely concealed panic. As Tom boarded his transport back to Earth, Admiral Zoll turned to Captain Vrel. "Notify all member worlds," he said quietly. "The classification for humans is being upgraded from potential allies to critical diplomatic priority, and mark Earth as a Class 5 Deathworld with the addendum: approach with extreme caution and respect." Vrel's antennae drooped. What if they decide they don't want to be our friends? The Admiral watched the human ship depart. Then we pray they never become our enemies.